Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sam Robbins. Now, today I'm going to talk about vitamin D, which is super important for dozens of health reasons. And it's a vitamin that most of us are deficient in. And I've done videos about this and I'll link it to the end of this video. Now, vitamin D is obviously extremely powerful in its health benefits, mainly because it's technically a hormone. That's right. As you know, it's a hormone. And the thing is, as we get older, the more important optimal hormone levels become. Of course, people always ask me, hey, how can I get vitamin D naturally, especially from food, since I'm eating food all the time, which is today what I'm going to reveal the two best and only food sources high in vitamin D, which unfortunately isn't good news for most of us because most of us it's not going to apply for 99% of us, the food intake. However, at the end of today's video, I've suggested the two best ways you can get optimal vitamin D, which will be free or almost free, extremely low cost. Now, before I start, you would ideally do a blood test to see where your levels are for vitamin D. However, I suggest most people to take a minimum of 2,000 units, which is 50 micrograms. And most would actually do better taking 5,000 units or 125 micrograms daily. Now, I personally take double this dose. Yes, it's more, but it puts me at the high normal optimal range, which again has lots of benefits. And remember, it has to be the right form of vitamin D, which is vitamin D3, and it needs to be or should be combined with another vitamin called vitamin K2 because both of these balance each other out and they promote better calcium absorption into the bones instead of the arteries where, that's what you want. And I've listed the best sources below this video. But let's get started. First, protein, okay? Now, most proteins do not contain vitamin D unless you consume processed proteins such as like dairy, like milk, which has to be fortified with vitamin D, which basically means they add in the vitamin D like a pill. The truth is, it's not going to be enough, all right? So you might as well just take a pill, all right, which has much higher levels and in the correct form, which has to be vitamin D3 plus K2, as I listed below. Now, anyway, the best source of vitamin D is from fatty fish protein, such as salmon. It's got to be wild caught, 3 ounces, contains about 500 units or 12 micrograms of D3, which isn't bad at all. And then rainbow trout, freshwater, 3 ounces, contains a little bit more, around 650 units or 16 micrograms of vitamin D3. It's important to note that the oils, all right, the oils in the fish contain the majority of the vitamin D. And this is why you want fatty fish, such as, again, salmon or rainbow trout. Again, these need to be wild caught, all right, because they get natural sunlight. That's how the vitamin D and all that stuff is absorbed into the fat, into the oil. So we don't want farm raised. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about vegetables, right? Vegetables, unfortunately, don't really have much vitamin D except for one, which is mushrooms. And this is because, just like humans, mushrooms also synthesize this vitamin D3, when exposed to sunlight. All right, that's important to note. However, not all types of mushrooms are helpful since most of them are actually grown in the dark. They have no sunlight, so basically they get very little vitamin D. Now, the best sources are cremini, which is chestnut mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, or also maitake mushrooms. Now, 1 cup of these mushrooms averages about 1,000 units or 25 micrograms of D3, which is great, which is, the most out of any food, all right? So that's a great benefit. And also, mushrooms have very little calories, so a cup of it only has about 25 calories. So if you like mushrooms and can get them daily, this would be great, which is also when you add it to, salmon meal, fantastic. However, one thing, if you have yeast or candida problems, which actually many people do, they don't realize it. I've had it in the past. Consuming mushrooms may not be a good idea because mushrooms are fungi. For example, if I have mushrooms, immediately my skin gets white spots, which is fungi, which is yeast. All right. So with that said, let's go to the next foods, which is fruit. All right. As far as fruit, forget about it, all right? The only one that has any real vitamin D is orange juice, and it has to be fortified with vitamin D, just like milk, all right? Besides, my opinion is that all juices are bad because it's just straight sugar, all right? Forget about it. Go eat an orange. Don't have orange juice. So in conclusion, all right, getting your vitamin D from food or even a multivitamin is probably not a good idea because it's not going to give you optimal levels, especially if you have to consume these foods daily. The best is sunlight, all right? Try to get at least 30 to 45 minutes daily. Yes, daily. It should be around, peak hours between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. when the sun is above you. This is very important, all right? Getting it at any times, it's just you need like 2 extra hours. Also, the sun needs to be on big parts of your body, like your entire legs or the back and so forth. The face doesn't count, especially if you're concerned about getting wrinkles, all right? Now, getting enough sunlight during peak hours is unfortunately not optimal for most of us, especially during the colder months and different parts of the world. I guess if you live in Hawaii, you'll be fine. But the rest of us, we need to supplement with vitamin D. Also vitamin K, as I mentioned earlier, because they both balance each other out and help promote better calcium absorption into your bones instead of the arteries. Again, very important as we get older and needs to be started earlier so we don't get the calcium in the wrong places. Again, below I've listed the brand I use and also additional coupon if you want to utilize it. With that said, let me know if you have any related questions about today's topic, foods or vitamins and so forth. I'd love to answer them in future videos. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I wish you a very happy and healthy day.